It's episode 10 of the Skybox podcast, a show about games and nerd culture. I am your host and Skybox editor at large, Brian Barnett.
It's me. It's the MGE, managing editor, Lucas White.
And I'm the executive producer of the Skydive podcast. Not the Skybox one, that's this one. I'm Kris Cornelise.
All right, we got a lot of stuff to talk about this week. We're going to talk about some games. We're going to talk about a movie.
And some adjacent nerd culture, I'm sure.
Indeed. Where would you guys like to start? You guys know what's on the chopping block? What are you guys thinking? Is there anything that really jumps out at you that you want?
It jumps out.
That really jumps out at you that you want to talk about?
I haven't played any horror games recently, so no, I can't say there has been.
Okay. All right. Well, let me tell you, let's talk about something that Lucas just found out that we were going to be able to talk about, because I got this stuff on the brain. Recently, I went and watched the Superman movie. Superman. Get me pictures of Superman.
I have to quickly interject when you mention that, just because they're doing a crossover set for Magic the Gathering, like they've been doing that for a while, but they're doing one with Spider-Man at the moment. And some of the cards and designs that have come out have been fucking mint, just on point. There is in fact a card called Pictures of Spider-Man.
Yes.
Beautiful.
There is in fact the Daily Bugle as an artifact which gives a target creature menace. It's perfect. It's spot on.
I love it.
Every time they put out spoilers for that, I'm loving that. So, sorry I had to interject. Please.
That's all good. It's all good. Anyways, so the film previously known as Superman Legacy, which is now just Superman.
Superman 2025
is out. It's not even 2025 because there's never been another movie called Superman. The first
you're
one,
right.
The Donner one was just Superman the movie.
Yeah,
So there's never been another Superman. So it's not even 2025, which is crazy that there's never been a movie called Superman.
That is weird.
Yeah.
Very fortunate for them.
There are many there are many Superman movies, but this is the first one. Yeah. But anyways, I watched this. I was very excited that the incredible Mrs. Maisel, or the marvelous Mrs. Maisel, was playing Lois Lane. She crushed it. I'd never seen David Corenswet in anything. He crushed it. I'm a was it Nicholas Hoult or Christopher Holt? Anyways, the guy who plays Lex. I've been an enjoyer of his for a while. He crushed it. Everybody in this movie is great. I think the movie is really, really good, and refreshingly, it's a movie that really, truly understands the soul of Superman in a way that I desperately needed right now.
I'm hearing that a lot. The people who are just really into Superman as a character and like proper legacy Superman, just like I made a comment before we started recording about, compared to whatever the fuck Zack Snyder was doing with him.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like that is complete misunderstanding of the concept of the hero, and everyone misunderstands Superman as a whole.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, oh, he's just powerful, he just fixes everything. It's like, that's not what it's about. But
no.
Yeah, but everything I've heard about this movie, having still not seen it myself, is that, James Gunn gets it. He understands the character. He understands the soul of it. And given his work on previous superhero movies, I totally get that. I would not be surprised.
He turned the Guardians of the Galaxy into characters that people cared about. Like,
and
then you gave
I had
Superman.
barely any idea who they were prior to that movie. Aside from, I know Rocket. He was in Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah. But anyways, I think it's really good. It's very stupid. I was incredibly concerned that it was biting off more than it could chew, that it was introducing too many characters, but like I like all of the characters that it introduced. I feel like it did a good job. Like it certain characters definitely got more screen time than others. Mr. Terrific is fucking awesome. And I had no idea who he was. I had no idea who a lot of these other characters were, and I hadn't watched any of the trailers. I knew that it was a new Superman movie coming out. I had seen like some stuff in passing just because of like where I work and like seeing different things be posted online, like on social media and stuff. But I really tried to stay in the dark. I didn't know almost anything about this movie, and I thought it was really good. I thought they did a really great job. I'm very excited to watch more of these DC movies. But Lucas, what did you think?
Yeah, I'm someone who has been heavily pushed away from superhero movies for many years now, it feels like. Which is a bummer because like I was really into superheroes several years ago and collecting comics and stuff, and just got hit with the fatigue so bad. Especially because a lot of these movies are just
mid.
I don't know, yeah, kind of worthless. And yeah, the one thing that stands out about it, as Brian said, as far as like getting Superman right, it's really interested in that thing of like Superman's whole deal is he's got these powers and he just wants to be a good person with them. And it kind of explores like the downside of that, where you have like the whole thing is it starts kind of in the middle of everything, and it's like there's drama because Superman like interfered in a conflict overseas just to kind of like go do the right thing, and then there was like a lot of complicated stuff that happened as a result of that, and he's kind of dealing with it, and like Luthor's taking advantage of it, yada yada yada. And it also kind of, I'm trying not to be cringe because it's
embrace the cringe, go for it.
It seems like there is some intent to mirror Palestine a little bit. And I worry that's it's like recency bias. I worry it's a very like
you're not the only person I've heard who says that. So
very online white guy thing to say. I'm not really sure.
I mean, that's interesting because it could also be about Ukraine.
Yeah.
You know,
turns out a lot of these conflicts just kind of have similar, similar vibes.
Yeah, like one side clearly bullying the other one, and these sort of external forces being involved different ways. But Superman getting in there definitely kind of raises relevant questions that are also adjacent to Superman's whole deal. So I think it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Another thing I appreciate, something I've been kind of aware of, especially with like blockbuster movies, this one is not filmed to be regurgitated on TikTok, and I really appreciate that. Yeah. It has a very broad color palette, and not everything in the movie is happening in like the middle of the screen all the time.
Yeah. Which I really like the way that they use the cameras in this movie.
I was watching Wicked with my family the other day, and like everything in that movie is happening in the middle of the screen, and then there's just whatever on the sides. And it's like, oh, this was deliberately filmed to be reshared on TikTok over and over. It's kind of disgusting. So it feels like a real movie that was made in 2025, which is kind of cool, at least as far as like, Hollywood blockbusters goes. Yeah, it's neat. I like that it kind of just starts in the middle of this iteration of DC and doesn't bother really setting everything up and introducing.
We don't need yet another origin story. It's just straight into it.
It like introduces characters organically by them doing the things that they do in the story, and that's.
I think
it works really well.
It's very interesting. It would be like, what if the MCU started with Avengers 1? It's like,
Yeah, kinda.
damn, like, okay, because so like even if you didn't know about those characters or you didn't see the origin, like you get the idea with how Thor appears, like to take Loki out, and then you're like, oh, they're brothers. Oh shit, like this guy's really in a lot of trouble. And then like he fights with Iron Man, and then like they eventually get onto the same side, and it's like, oh, okay, like even if you don't know anything about Iron Man, you get the idea that he's like a ready, fire, aim type of guy, you know. And then Cap is different. Like the way that they characterize, like it makes dialogue more important when you don't have stuff to draw from, when you don't have information to draw from. And the fact that this movie takes several characters that are not mainstream, super popular DC characters and puts them at the forefront of this film. And you still not knowing anything. Like I didn't know anything about Mr. Terrific. I didn't know anything about Metamorpho or like some of the other characters. And yet I definitely got like, I got to know everything I needed to know by just watching them act, like by seeing how they behaved in this world. And, you know, various government figures, and like you could just tell by like framing, lighting, soundtrack, like they just framed everything really well. And it kind of, you know, you don't need to like lead somebody by the hand and tell them you're leading them by the hand and then say, hey, there's about to be a drop, and then like help their foot get down the drop. It's like, no, just show me where we're going and I'll follow you, you know? And I hate the trend in like modern cinema of like not trusting the audience. I hate that with games too. I think if you don't have
that in games,
if you don't have faith in your audience, then what are you even doing this for? Like unless you're a teacher, like the need to break stuff down to this extent is like, it's just unnecessary. And so to see them start this, not only the universe, but the story of this movie, like kind of halfway through, is a really interesting choice. And I think it works.
It's very careful with expository dialogue. Like it really only goes there when it needs to, I think.
And when it does, I think that it like the opening like crawl, like when it does give you like a little bit of exposition, it does it in a way that's like fun. Like where it doesn't feel like there's a gimmick to the opening scroll, basically. And like I thought it was funny. You know. Yeah. Anyways, go see Superman. It's good.
Good.
Finally, another good Superman movie. Jesus Christ. And the guy seems to be just a real swell guy, like the guy who plays him, which is another thing that makes me very happy. You know, I like seeing people who get it. Because like anybody who thinks, if you think Superman is boring, you don't understand Superman.
Yeah.
And so I heard somebody say, like, if you think Superman is boring after you watch this movie, I don't think there's anything I can do to help you. You know, he's great. He's great.
I'll definitely have to go watch it soon.
Yeah. Anyways, that's Superman. It's a good movie.
Good movie.
Good to hear.
I'm gonna buy the shit out of it. I'm gonna watch the shit out of it. It's gonna be great. James Gunn is good at making movies.
He is. Just all the Guardians movies. Again, he turned around, the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, he did.
That first one was a disaster, and then that second one, it's just, as you say, it's like, I don't know who these characters are, but he introduces them really well, makes you care, gives them an arc, and it's like...
He made me like Polkadot Man. Like,
exactly. That's the example. That is the example, right? It's like who the fuck is this guy? Why do we care? And yet here he is.
David Dastmalchian, so that's why you care.
Sure, but he goes through an arc and he has, moments in self-doubt, and then
he pees
uplifts himself, and then it's great.
It's fantastic.
I did not watch that movie, but appreciated that John Cena is in Superman a little bit.
Yes, that was funny.
John Cena was not that bad in Suicide Squad either, so Apparently the show, that the spin-off show, like the Peacemaker
The
or whatever
Peacemaker
it was,
show is supposed to be really good.
apparently it's really good, yeah. So that's something I need to see as well.
Yeah. So that's good. All right.
James Gunn, good director. Who knew?
James Gunn. Go figure. All right. Let's get into something else. Kris, what do you want to talk about?
Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I fell down a rabbit hole, my friends. And that rabbit hole involves cards, deck builders, lots of them.
Uh-oh.
So I'll start with Slay the Spire, because everyone knows by this point Slay the Spire, at least by reputation, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I've been playing Slay the Spire for a while, and I finally I put it down for a couple of months for a while, and then picked it up recently and just like, cool, I'm just going to power through this and try and get a victory against the true end boss on every class. I did that sooner than I expected, actually. I'm like, cool, great. But then I was like, okay, but I want to keep playing, but I need to find other games, or I want to knock out a few other games that are like this, but not exactly the same. So I went through and played a whole bunch. So the most obvious one is probably the best named game I have in my collection, that being Fights in Tight Spaces, which is just the best name for a game ever. I'm sticking with that.
Yep.
It's very much, it's Slay the Spire, but you're on a grid, and you're kind of like a James Bond-esque character, just beating the shit out of people.
Okay.
And it's beautiful, and less said the better, but take a look at it. It's great. From there, I went on to the first Monster Train, not the second. The second one just came out. I didn't have that, but I played through the first, and that's pretty cool. But none of these are, quite scratching the itch, so I needed to branch out a little bit more. And so what I'm currently playing through is a game called Across the Obelisk, which is, it's again, roguelike deck builder, but with a twist. Part of that being it's co-op multiplayer. Like, it doesn't have to be, you can play it solo, but it can be co-op multiplayer because it's, I suppose the closest analog I can think of is it's also sort of like Darkest Dungeon, in that you take, the party of 4 and go through like adventures and such. But and each player can play, one or more of these characters, and then you pick the turns and pick what you're getting with them, and then you just coordinate over whatever you want. And so I've been playing that, and the main reason I did that is because a whole bunch of my local friends have been playing it for a while. They have like hundreds of hours in this game. And I was listening to them talk about it, and as I'm finally just, in the deck builder arc of my life, I'm just like, yeah, right, I'll pick it up. So I did. And so I've been playing through that and trying to figure all that out, because it is very much a game that there is a progression track, and you do kind of need to level up a little bit in terms of meta progression in order to unlock a few perks, and just to get the stats you need to actually have much of a fighting chance. Because so far, I've just been getting my ass kicked. And it's kind of brutal. But the bones of it are good. Like, it is, again, you assemble a party of these different characters, and you unlock more characters as you progress, by doing their quests and such, or by buying them through DLC, which I'll get back to, because there's a problem with that.
Okay.
And so I'm in the process of just unlocking all these characters, and you'll typically have one of each. You don't have to, obviously, but you can have one of each different class archetype, and I believe that there's a lot of overlap between skills and such. So you'll have, like, basically a rogue, ranger, bard kind of archetype. You'll have a warrior archetype who can be, like, frontline tanky or just berserker. You can have a mage, and then you have a healer. And this healer can also do things like, mind magic and shadow magic and shit like that. There's a lot of, it wears its inspirations from World of Warcraft and or Hearthstone, probably, quite a bit in a lot of card mechanics and the way it works. just there's multiple things. Like as a long time WoW player, I'm like, yeah, somebody here played the priest a lot, because there's very specific abilities that are like, I don't think I've ever seen this outside of a World of Warcraft priest. So okay, but it works and it's kind of cool. So I've been playing that and just trying to figure it out. I haven't got to the end of a run yet. I've beaten a few of the bosses, because you start out in like the first act is always the same. It's like a typical forest area. And then you reach the titular Obelisk and it's like, cool, this is a teleporter. Which area are you going to next? And then you can follow whichever one you need to for different quests. And then I think once you clear each of the possible areas, it comes back to an end area. I'm not sure. I haven't got that yet. So I'm just chipping away at that now. And again, there's a lot of getting progress over time. The more you play, the more, get a currency that can be exchanged for permanent upgrades in the town. You just, every time you reach a new act, you go to the town, which lets you tune your deck a little bit, upgrade certain cards, buy new things, buy new equipment, that kind of stuff. But the capabilities and the costs are not great until you get some of these perks. And the more you use specific characters and character classes, the more you level them up, which gets access to their perk tree, which is just flat stats. So you really need that in order to actually make headway, because very early on, I'm just like, I don't mathematically think this is possible. So, and then by contrast, now a few runs deep, I'm just able to completely slaughter what was hard sticking me before. So there's a lot of that. Which brings us to the issue.
Oh no.
Which I have to talk about. This game was, I don't remember the original developers, I'll look that up, but it was like, it's relatively cheap in terms of like how it looks, how it sounds or whatever, and that's fine. It was made by like 4 people. It's an indie project, right? Unfortunately, it didn't stay that way, because it was then later picked up by Paradox Publishing.
Okay.
If you know anything about Paradox, you know that they have a massive DLC issue. Okay, the original developer was called Cite Games. This game came out in 2021 originally, by the way. Paradox games, typically their strategy games, are notorious for, here is the base game, it is okay, it is, probably a little bare bones or whatever. Here come the DLC for the next 10 years. I paid about $25 Australian or whatever for the base game. If I want to buy everything in the game, it'd be like 120.
Yike.
And a lot of that is just additional characters, additional classes, extra stuff. The base game has a lot of content, but there is just a lot of characters which you just need DLC to unlock. And some of them will have different classes, some of them are multi-class. I don't know if they have specific cards or equipment or whatever attached with them. But then they do something that I find real dog shit, is that you'll get to an area on the map, like you're progressing, you're going through your map and just clicking, I want to go to this event or this attack or this combat or whatever. You'll get to ones where it's just like, there are options that it will show you, but which are grayed out because you need this DLC. And there are options on the map which you go to, and there's no option for a free player. It's just, oh, by the way, in order to progress here, you need DLC. Sorry. It's like, why the fuck is it on the map?
Yeah.
Why do you put it on the map? This is just an ad for the fucking DLC.
Yeah, they put it on the map so that you go buy it. Yeah.
And this is not encouraging me to buy it. This is just pissing me off. Why is it here?
Incredible.
Fuck you. So that's an issue. And ultimately, you don't need the DLC for a lot of it. Like, it's just, and most of it is just like, whatever. It's just like, it's slightly overpriced to get a single character. They're cool, they're fine, but it's like, it's $5 for this and there's like 20 of them. It's like, okay, whatever. Maybe one, like the first one was like a decent expansion, and that's what my friends say, you probably should get that at some point. The rest, totally up to you, probably forgettable. But there is so much of it, and it's overpriced, and I just glanced through the Steam page, and basically you can tell which game or which DLC is most recent based on the review scores, because it just went down and down and down and down over time to the point where it's down like mostly negative for the newest ones. It's like, okay. I spoke, this was back on the Platformers podcast, but I did speak, a similar thing happened to Risk of Rain 2, which is another great game and one of my favorites. That was excellent, and then Gearbox bought it, and then Gearbox just shat all over it. Just fucked it all up completely. And it's just... Publishers are not content with, fucking up their own games. Now they buy other indie projects and fuck those up as well.
Yeah.
Like, I hate it. It's really frustrating.
It's one of those unfortunate situations as well, where it's like, yeah, pretty much. I mean, I know that this isn't explicitly true, but I'm just like, yeah, if it's not Borderlands, like, and it has Gearbox on the cover, like, you probably should just skip it.
What do you mean that's not explicitly true? That is explicitly true.
Yeah. But I mean, some people would also say that Borderlands is not good. I just happen to have a soft spot.
I consider it very debatable whether or not it's good. I get the appeal for some, but I've never been able to get into that series as much as I tried.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Borderlands was one of those things where, like, that was a game that I discovered based off of like with BlazBlue. Like, I saw the cover art and was like, ooh, bought it, like, sight unseen, besides the box. But, like, and then converted all my friends to play it, and then we just played it for hundreds of hours. But,
yeah, and it is a good co-op romp, that's for sure.
And I was like, man, Gearbox must really be some great developers. And it's like, nope. Just they are a one-hit wonder.
Everything else they've done.
What's
I remember
that, Lucas?
Battleborn.
So remember Battleborn?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Let's try and go head to head with Overwatch despite not being the same fucking genre.
Yeah.
And therefore losing everyone because we drew in the wrong fucking audience. No, our game is failing. What a fucking shock.
It's so crazy that
it's not even a bad game.
So many people left just their bodies left in the wake of Overwatch. Like, it literally was not until Rivals that anybody came out and was like, hey, we're going to do a hero shooter and we're not Overwatch. And people were like, okay, hold on a second. Let's let these guys cook.
Okay, but the reason they
died.
100%. But the reason is because one of those bodies that was left in Overwatch's wake at the time of Rivals release was also Overwatch.
Yeah, it was.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Oh my god, what a time. But yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
So the moral of the story is that Paradox are really bad with their DLC practices, and Across the Obelisk suffers. Also, Gearbox are some of the boldest frauds in the industry. And yeah. That's my take. But Across the Obelisk is good. I'll let you know how it goes by the time I finish it, if I do so.
Nice.
It's not as good as Slay the Spire, but it has multiplayer, so that's neat.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But yeah. I appreciate you saying that my explicit take is actually explicitly true.
I've been on record on, this and previous podcasts of, no, Gearbox are just frauds. And they've done similar things where it's not just Risk of Rain. Like there was, what was that other one?
We Happy Few.
We Happy Few, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, they just bought that and then immediately, we bought this. Immediately we're releasing premium editions. Also, the price is now doubled for no reason. We're not adding to it. We're just doubling the price. And disaster, absolute disaster.
More.
But yeah, that's basically all I got for this week. But that's my annoyed, unhinged rant at the state of the industry.
And cards.
Yeah.
And cards.
It's pretty wild.
Still love Deckbuilders.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of games where you kind of build power and then have to kind of figure stuff out as you go along,
It's a bit of a stretch, but okay.
I covered Gamescom, and there was a game that was announced and shadow dropped during Gamescom. And it's called Kill the Brickman. And I've been playing that.
Tell us about Kill the Brickman.
Let me tell you about Kill the Brickman as soon as I mark the timestamps for our lovely listeners. So, Kill the Brickman is a very bizarre game. And you'll know that the second you watch the trailer for Kill the Brickman.
I am 5 seconds into the trailer, and I am already thinking, yep, this is a weird-looking game.
It's already weird.
It's very weird, yes. It's very weird.
It has a thing for weird faces.
It does. It does. So, Kill the Brickman is basically it's not a deck builder literally, because you're not building a deck of cards, but it does the same thing as a deck builder, which is like you acquire things over time and you decide which type of upgrades and consumables and things that you want to take with you on your run. So it is a roguelite, but it's a roguelite like brick breaker, but it's not really a brick breaker because you don't bounce, like you don't have a paddle at the bottom. It's really like a brick breaker crossed with like Bust a Move, crossed with a roguelite, and then that's what it is. It's very bizarre. So the idea of it is there are these weird cube-shaped brickmen that are invaders from outer space, and you have to kill them all.
With a swiveling gun.
With a gun that you move back and forth. But like also your bullets are alive, and they have different effects, and they have different colors. So as you go through the game, you will start with just a basic clip, but where you put which color bullets in your clip matters, because red bullets explode and deal explosive damage. Blue bullets will clone themselves and bounce around like multi-ball style. And green bullets will add splashes of corrosive damage that deals damage over multiple turns. Once you've fired all of your bullets, your turn is over, and then it's the Brickman's turn to either, some of them, like most of them will just sit there. Occasionally, some of them will, much like a Perfect Information game, like
Into the Breach.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. They will say, hey, I'm going to attack next turn. And then you have to do something about it, or you will lose health. You have like 8 hearts. If you get hit once, that's 1 heart gone. Unless the person has like high attack, it can be more than that. And you have that many hearts to get through 10 stages. Healing opportunities are incredibly rare. Like you may do it a full run and just not get any opportunities to heal at all. But you can, when like in between, like with Blatro, in between each stage and the next one, you'll go into a shop and you can get interest based off of your money. And if there are like dollar bill stacks in a level and you shoot them, you'll get 1 currency. That doesn't happen that often, but it does happen from time to time. You can also accept little quests between each stage and the next. So it can be like, okay, if you take no damage, heal 2 HP. Or if you take no damage this upcoming stage, you'll get $4 or something like that.
Right.
In the shops, you can buy new clips for your gun, which will have different layouts, which I'll get into in a second. They'll have different bullets, and they'll have different passive abilities. So the passive abilities will be like every turn you gain 1 block, which will just like negate a point of damage that you would have taken. Or it'll be like wall bricks have like double health. So like they'll be less likely to break, which means that they'll be available to bounce and like ricochet shots off of. Professor Rock PR has followed. Thank you for the follow.
Thank you.
So you'll go into the shop, you'll get these clips, and what you want to do is you want to fill the clips up. They'll have like circles, and then they'll have like dots, and you'll want to have the circles, all of the circles be the same color, and all the dots be the same color. So your starter clip is a circle up top, a circle at the bottom, and then a dot on the left and right. So you'll have, like, let's say I'll do a red bullet on the top and the bottom, and then I'll do a blue bullet on the left and right. And if you do that, it will activate the clip's extra function, which will add extra attack and extra bounces onto all the bullets fired from it. There will be passives that you can get, which are like, I had one that was on one of the runs where I won. There's like 4 different 10-stage difficulty levels that you can get before you get to the end of the game. I've beaten 3 out of the 4, and I'm like getting roughly halfway through the final one. But it's really bullshit. Like by the end, like getting towards the end, there'll be turns where there's like 8 people attacking you, and I'm like, dude, that's literally all my health. So if you can't get a lot of block or stun or like do a lot of stuff, like you're just smoked. So I got to figure out something to get past that. But there's one where it's like if you activate 2 clips during a round, it will stun one of the attacking enemies, which means I can just ignore that. Really powerful stuff. Also, there's one called Empty Strength, which I really like, which is you gain attack power for each clip that isn't filled with bullets. So if you have a bunch of bullets, but you can only fill up like one of them right now, then you'll get extra attack power, even though you don't have that many bullets to fire.
Right.
And so it's all about like, there's different Brickman. They all have like different powers. Some of them are sleeping. If you wake them up, they'll get pissed off and attack you. There's other ones that have just like shit tons of health. There's other ones that will like delete or like bully other Brickmen and like move them around. There's all kinds of weird shit. There's like mouse Brickmen that the other Brickmen are scared of and they'll run away from them. There's a lot of weird shit going on. But it's very silly and very fun. And it's kind of one of those games that I've been relaxing with. They're still, from what I understand, they're still adding stuff to it. And so I don't know if they're going to like make the game bigger over time, but it's only $5 and I've been having a blast with it. I think it's totally worth your time. From what I understand, it's from the same people that like produced Vampire Survivors. Which might be,
looks like Ponkel had a hand in publishing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Developer.
Yeah, it's by Do Not Soar, who previously did like Hamster City and Meow Legion or whatever. But
so I guess Ponkel is just now in the publishing business, which makes sense. Good for them.
Yeah. But
assuming they don't do it like Paradox.
Yeah. It's real weird. It's real stupid. It's real silly, and it's real fun, and it's real cheap. So
yeah, looks intriguing.
Check it out. Runs, I mean, as you would imagine, runs beautifully on the Steam Deck. Very good. Whether you're playing on mouse and keyboard or on controller, works really well. So yeah, check it out. Kill the Brickman.
Good stuff.
Nice.
Lucas.
Yo.
What you got, my dude?
Yeah. Okay. So a few weeks ago now, I guess, I had a really cool experience because a game from like the maybe a couple years later, but around the peak era of like indie games emerging kind of into what we just have kind of ubiquitously now, was re-released. It's a game called Off. And Off, I would put up there in terms of its like timing and its level of influence, and sort of its presence as like pre-indie with games like Yume Nikki, or even Cave Story.
Cave Story was going to be the one I brought up. Yeah.
Yeah. Cave Story is a little earlier by a few years, but I would still kind of put those in the same conversation.
Yeah, they were some of the early influences before we kind of had the term indie game, as it were. But they, yeah. So I'll let you go in, but like Off is secretly more influential than most people will ever understand. So.
Oh yeah. And that's especially relevant for this new version, for a reason we'll get into. So Off is a French, or I guess more accurately, Belgian.
I'm pretty sure it's Belgian. Yeah.
Belgian.
Yes. I was trying to figure out, wait, what is the
Flemish? No.
It was made in RPG Maker. Like I think 2003 or something like that. RPG Maker. Released in like 2008, but the version of anyways. So like totally free, just released into the void, and eventually translated by people who hang out on the Fangamer message boards back when Fangamer was just like an Earthbound fan site. This game, in terms of like gameplay and stuff, it's very, very simple because it was a very like one person made it RPG Maker game. So you're working within the RPG Maker framework. Someone who's not a veteran developer, et cetera, et cetera. They had another guy doing the soundtrack. Relatively simple game, just turn-based combat, some puzzles, walking around in 2D, simple sprites. But the tone of it is incredibly surreal. The visuals, which are largely like sketchy, I don't want to say they're pencil and paper, but they kind of look like it sometimes, but very much like hand drawn and then scanned into RPG Maker. Like nightmarishly so, with all the sort of low resolution artifacting and everything adding to it. Where the story eventually goes, all of it is just this very dark and off-putting and uncomfortable, despite
and
it
fascinating.
and very fascinating. Despite it kind of looking like a Earthbound fan game at first glance. Because you play as the batter, just a guy in a white baseball uniform, and he is on a divine mission to purify the world of specters. And the first thing you meet is a cat that just has a mouth full of jagged, horrible-looking teeth. But it kind of speaks like a college professor. And you just kind of move zone to zone fighting ghosts. And you go through these worlds that are kind of built around like horrible workplace conditions. The first zone is a bunch of people who are like basically mining smoke. And then the second part of this is like they're digging metal out of cows. It's all very weird, but kind of the long and short of it is like they're all just haggard and lifeless and traumatized in some way or another, depending on where they are. And they're always just doing some weird thing that's like not a real world thing, but like close enough to where you can kind of sort of see what's being said while not directly being said. And you go through and things just get weirder and more uncomfortable, and you kind of start to question the batter's motivations, what he's really up to. You start to question your own role in the story. All this kind of fun, like subversive stuff that is very characteristic of like a super low-key indie game of its time.
Yeah, I think I would almost argue when you said you control the batter or whatever, it's like, that's not really it. You're playing you.
Right.
You are playing,
that
and the
is
batter is
explicit in the
there.
text.
Yes.
Yeah. You're kind of like,
they bring that up very early, and it becomes more and more clear as it goes on, and it goes places.
yeah, it's like you're sharing the batter's physical being. It's wacky, but yeah,
They do a similar thing
really
in One
fun.
Shot, which I talked about not that long ago on a podcast.
Oh yeah, nice. And then the soundtrack in this game is just like a crazy person banging on pots and pans and occasionally playing an instrument. It's very fascinating.
It's
very
wild.
kind of industrial, very creepy and uncomfortable. Again, it's like the whole thing is like it's called off, and it's like something here is off. And very, very on the nose, but very effective.
I'm definitely
anyways.
gonna have to get this.
Oh yeah, it's great.
We've been talking about doing a skydive of it, and I'm all in favor of it because, yeah, this is...
Really.
For those in the know, this shit is super, super fascinating.
Oh yeah. Describing it, it's hard to do it justice.
And we can't really fully describe it without just saying, look, just go play it, experience it. You know, it'll take you like 6 to 8 hours or so. It's a trip.
Quick. So this game, Kris mentioned it being very deeply influential before, and one of, I think, the obvious, the easy ways to communicate that is it's noted as Toby Fox of Undertale fame of being very influential. One of the games that gets directly cited a lot alongside like Earthbound and games like Live Alive. Off is a big one. And you can really tell if you play it.
Undertale doesn't look nearly as original. Like, it's still great, but a lot of its ideas, it's like you can tell which, he played off at some point, and yeah. They go in different directions and such, but yeah.
Undertale is a much more hopeful and whimsical experience.
Yes, definitely. Unless you're going genocide.
Fair.
So all that's explicitly the point, so.
Almost 20 years later, Fangamer, which is now more than an Earthbound fan site, it's a merch outlet, and it's also a game publisher now. And now it's a game developer, sort of. And as its first big project as like a publisher and kind of a developer, they sought out the creator of Off to give that game a commercial release for the first time in almost 20 years. So they took the RPG Maker original, spruced it up, made some little changes here and there, put it in a package, and put it out for the Switch and the PC. And it's very cool that something like that can happen just on its face. However, there are differences that a lot of people who've been there from the beginning aren't necessarily thrilled with. And one of them is that the music composer did not play ball with this at all. So the soundtrack, which is kind of infamous, kind of is attributed for being a huge part of the vibe of the original game. It just isn't there. It has been completely replaced.
And the reasoning for that is awesome.
Yeah. It seems pretty complicated. It sounds like they also just had a hard time getting a hold of this guy in general. But they finally did, and it sounds like, I don't have the direct quote in front of me, but he wasn't okay with his music being tied up in a commercial release because it would affect like the usage rights of it and things like that. The man was like, I want my stuff to be free, and this would make it not free.
Which I am all in favor of. 100% support that attitude.
Oh yeah, absolutely. To have the opportunity to tell a kind of commercial endeavor like that to hit the bricks. It was pretty sick.
I opt not to sell out. You'll
Yeah.
have to see it.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder if there could be, I mean, there definitely could be. There is a way to make everyone happy, which is have people make a mod for the game where it just puts that music in.
Well, the thing is, you can still just go play the original version, and
Yeah,
it's
you
still
can?
free.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This is a new one that is getting a commercial release, and it has changes which Lucas is about to go into, I'm sure.
So where is it? Is it on itch or something?
The original is not. It's way older than that. You can just
Just have to Google
if you
it,
type it in
basically.
Google, you type it in Google, people will find your link pretty quickly. It's not too bad. I know this because I did this recently too, because it was in the discussion. I'm like, I should play that again. So yeah,
super easy to get a hold of.
Mhm. And they didn't shut it down or blacklist it or anything. They're totally fine of it being out there. This is just a slightly updated one, which throws a couple of quid towards whoever.
Those are the cool things about it. Yeah, so the soundtrack's completely different. Funnily enough, Toby Fox contributed to the soundtrack, and he basically is like, I took the battle theme, and he put it akin to like taking a bullet for the rest of the people who worked on the
Yes, his
soundtrack.
wording was great.
Yeah, he knew what he was doing.
Everyone is going to be, whoever takes this is going to be judged harshly, is going to be judged unfairly. I am taking that responsibility so that others don't have to.
So Toby Fox
I'm doing
was
the best I can.
Toby Fox was the sin eater for this game.
Straight up.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, and the soundtrack is very different. It like the people doing it like understand what they were doing, I think, and they kind of tried to capture the vibe, I guess. And I don't think they succeed entirely. And part of it is just like that original soundtrack is very abstract. It really is.
Avant-garde, I suppose.
Yeah. So when you have people who are like maybe not just in that mindset, it's just hard to replicate that vibe unless you're already unhinged from the start. But I commend the effort, and there's a lot of honesty in it. And part of that honesty is from the publisher themselves, who are like, they're like, yeah, we get it. I think they didn't want to have to do something like that. And they themselves have been like, the original's still out there. They're like, please buy our game, of course, but if like, please also go out and they're not hiding it. They're mentioning it in press releases. Like they're really going out of their way to be like, the original is there, and we're not touching it, and we respect it, et cetera, which I appreciate from the publisher side, especially since like they're kind of the origin point of the English translation in the first place.
Yeah.
So they'd be kind of messing with their own history if they were to try to stamp that out.
Which has never stopped publishers in the past, but it's good to see that it's not here.
True. But yeah, it's a very interesting kind of thing, to have something from way back in the origin point of modern indie games to resurface like this, get the main original creator, who's like a professional comics artist now, and he's got new art all over it in terms of like the box art and the border art and stuff, and so you kind of see like the evolution of that person's style, which is very different now. So that's kind of interesting to see. It's got new bosses and stuff, so it's got like more things to kind of uncover aside from the main story. The localization's new, kind of have to be. Yeah, it's just a very, very fascinating thing, and would not have expected to be like covering a game like off for work as just like a routine review kind of situation.
Pretty cool.
But here we are. Yeah, I think if you like Undertale, if you like stuff like RPG Maker games as we know them today, which are much more elaborate usually, but still kind of, you can tell. And then RPG Maker's been used to make so many different kinds of games too, like To the Moon and stuff like that.
People use it to get very experimental and very, there was a huge scene for RPG Maker horror games, as I've mentioned in the past. And it's wild to see the direction that shit has gone, and it's really cool.
Also, you wouldn't think it, but there's a lot of RPGs that have been made with RPG Maker.
Oh, yeah.
Funny that.
Pretty wild.
Crazy stuff.
I just would not have expected it.
I know.
Call me old-fashioned, but I don't know.
Jesus. Yeah, Off is really cool. I think if you're interested in seeing where things you like now come from, this is a perfect example of something you can check out. And you can check out the new fancy version that's easy to just get on the eShop or Steam or whatever, and then you can, put a little bit more elbow grease into checking out the original, or at least looking up the soundtrack on YouTube or something. Because man, if you play this new version and like it, you have to at least look up Pepper Steak and then imagine like some of the battles with that instead of the new version.
Yeah,
it's fascinating video game. It is very, very cool to have to see it get its flowers in some kind of contemporary capacity. And there's also
just more of a spotlight on it.
Weird. Yeah.
Because I've been into indie games for a long time. Cave Story was about the point where I started really I didn't like Cave Story as much as a lot of other people did. But that was when I was like, ooh, I like this. So I want to find more stuff like this, just like this, more my speed.
It opened the door to a hell of a lot of people.
Yeah. And I forget, was Cave Story before Bastion and those really early...
yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. Because I remember I played Cave Story when it came to, I think, DS or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was early Xbox 360 indie game stuff when they were doing Summer of Arcade and all that sort of stuff. And I've been pretty into those things since then. And then of course being a PSP and Vita person, you were just gonna play more obscure, more indie stuff anyways, because that's just kind of what there was a lot of the time. But until then, those were the kind of games that really got me pointed in that direction. I had not heard of Off until this thing came up. So I'm very pleased to have somebody as plugged into random weird shit indie games as I am. I had never even heard of one of the most influential games. I'm really excited to be.
It's very low key in that regard. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just looked it up. Cave Story came out originally around 2004.
Okay.
And
that
Off was
just a random. It was a computer executable you had to go and find and download.
Yeah, and I was still in high school when that dropped, just finishing it up. So it's damn.
I had just graduated high school not that long before that.
Yeah, so that was a big one for a lot of things. And then Off was 2008, as mentioned.
Yep.
But then you mentioned Bastion, Brian, and I've been looking this up for reasons, coming soon. But there were 3 big games on the Xbox Live Arcade, which kind of opened the way to more mainstream eyes on indie and on indie games and more what they can do in terms of story and vibes and whatever. And those 3, one of them, which was the first, was 2008, and that was Braid.
Yep.
And then 2010 was Limbo. And then 2011 was Bastion. I consider those kind of the 3 big ones,
Yeah, and I was gonna say I was hoping we were gonna get to the Phil Fish joint, but because that is my favorite of that batch.
The Fez.
Yeah.
Yeah. I throw Super Meat Boy in there as well.
Super Meat Boy was also
a
great
pretty
one.
great.
Yeah. So Super Meat Boy and Fez were my 2 favorites of that batch.
It was kind of the era for that, and that's where the indie scene kind of got its, kind of grew. It became a little less indie, as it were. Still indie, but
more eyes on it, less obscure, less in the basements, nobody's heard of it, and more like, oh, I've seen this.
Still indie, but you could make money off of it and just buy it on your Xbox.
Yeah. And that was also during 7th console gen, so there's a whole lot of mediocrity going around, and everyone's just like, man, we need colors. We need something different.
Colors would be nice.
No brown, no piss filters, please.
And Supergiant and Phil Fish were like, bet. And the person, the people who made Limbo were like, nope, we're going even further. We're going
we'll take it to the extremes.
You're not even gonna get muted browns. It's monochrome, baby.
And then we'll do it again with Inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except that one had red in it.
It did.
Which made all the difference. I can't
believe
they used the
Sin City
colors.
palette. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways.
Amazing.
All right. So I got a question for you guys.
Hit.
Shall we? I feel like that's a pretty good place to wrap. Do we want to do a Patreon question and then get out of here?
Sure. I think we should do a Patreon question and get out of here. Yeah, that seems good.
All right, let's do that. Let's keep, brevity is the soul of wit, as they say. So this week, we're going to talk about a question that we got from Mads, our beloved Mads.
Shout outs to Mads.
Shout outs to Mads, who has done the art for all of our shows so far. Other than the kind of like skyscape stuff that I have acquired for us. But like all the cartoon style art on the site, that's all Mads. He's great. In the Discord, which you can join us for $5 at patreon.com/skyboxcritics. There are little emojis of each of the co-founders from the Beyond the Skybox like art. So there's like me out there like floating through space, and then there's Lucas with his sword and shield, and Will with his gun. It's just, I love it. It's so fun. And I also love how like in the Discord, like each of those emojis has come to mean something very different. Like there's also the picture of me on the skateboard, or like me in the mankini or whatever. And like all that shit just means something different, stunting on them. Anyways, come join us over on Patreon.
The story of Discord emotes and what they can mean in certain groups is always just so fascinating.
It's so good. It's so good. And like I've started, this is not the first Discord I've started, but I think that the emojis in this one are like kind of next level. I think
they get a lot more use, I feel, than the other one.
Yeah.
Although the Doom going fuck one comes up a lot in both, so yeah.
That is, I think that's my favorite one that I've found. That's just like, it's just perfect. It's
just perfect.
No notes. No notes. Oh God, the Doom fuck is just flawless. That's like right up there with like Palpatine's unlimited power. Like it's just a perfect thing. Humanity.
You post it and you get exactly the vibe.
Yeah,
every time.
It's humanity's had a lot of ups and downs. We've had a lot of dark chapters in our history. Every once in a while, we make like a perfect thing, like we just craft a perfect moment in time, and we can just capture it and bottle it, and then just whip it out whenever we need. And that's what the Doom fuck sticker and emoji are. It's really good.
Completely agree.
Anyways,
join our Discord, people. It's great.
Completely keeping in the vibe and the goofiness that we're talking about right now. Let's go into Mads' question. You can submit your questions to us if you are a member over on Patreon at certain tiers, but I think this one is just like you could just be a member of the Discord and you can ask questions for this show. Mads asks, how would you respond to people who unironically cite Grummz or Gamergate as examples of games journalism? Is there something that can easily be pointed to as current proof that either or both are thoroughly discredited? This is a big question. It's an excellent question. And I gave it to these guys ahead of time. So
and
that
I have
we
a
could,
succinct answer for it.
so that we could actually think about it. The first thing that I would say about this to kind of kick off the discussion is I'm a teacher. I have a teacher's mindset. I'm also a father. Those are like very closely related. One of my strengths, and I hope that it comes through on the show and in the stuff that I write, but like is taking ideas and presenting them in a way that they make sense, being able to break them down and put them into like bite-sized pieces to be able to, like a breadcrumb trail, like lead people to the truth. As journalists, that is, I consider that to be part of my job, but that also informs the way that I look at things and the way that I like to interact with people. So as a teacher, I would respond to people who unironically cite these by just sitting them down and explaining how the industry actually works, because it's very easy to peddle bullshit to people who don't know how things work. It's very easy to convince people that automobiles are magic if you don't understand engineering and thermodynamics. But if you sit them down and explain it to them, then like in the future, they'll have the tools to be able to see through nonsense, and maybe they won't fall for it next time. I like to believe the best of people, and so that's my approach. That is just a very general answer to this. Like that's not super specific, but I do think that like it's impossible for me to, but with Grummz specifically, it's impossible for me to believe he, as a developer, is not doing this maliciously. I cannot believe he is approaching this with any kind of good faith. The Gamergate stuff is a little bit different, because with Gamergate, the idea that was said to be behind it was ethics in journalism and wanting people to be held to standards, which I believe in. The problem was,
I did too.
The things that these people were pointing to were not the ethical problems, and their answer to these problems were turning to influencers and people on YouTube and stuff like that who are not journalists, who have no ethical standards whatsoever. I mean, even in the industry that we're in, it's not codified really, apart from like don't plagiarize. Like there are a lot of gray lines where like people can be friends with developers, people can be friends with publishers. People send out press kits. Some people deny it. Some people turn those down. Other people's don't. Like where you go with that kind of depends. But like when you get into the influencer space, that all of that goes out the window. And so holding these people up as like some scions of truth when they have no, like not even the basis of codes that they go by as like a group is wild to me. It's like saying we need to do something about climate change and then creating as much CO2 as possible. It's like you're just sprinting in the opposite direction from the thing you say you want.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
How about you, Lucas? Because
this one is very difficult to answer for me. I don't remember offhand how long y'all have been in this space. I've been in it for a few years.
2017?
Okay.
Similar time frame. I'm pretty sure you're the oldest, hand in this one.
the old, as the old of the group. I had been kind of doing it for a few years when Gamergate started. It was in 2014. And it's very the prospect of kind of correcting someone when the thing being corrected is like as easy as reading about it on Wikipedia is very difficult.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing when misinformation kind of snowballs and gets out of control. You're kind of already past the point where just like showing someone the real information is going to
do anything,
make an impact. Yeah. It has a side effect, like as now like someone who's been around for a long time and has like a formal education in journalism stuff. I have a very, very low tolerance for like misinformation, one, and two, like people like in my own space getting facts wrong, like observable, things that you can like look up and read about just wrong. It's very frustrating for me because it's like seeing the ass end of that, where it can go, even if it's like more trivial stuff in terms of like, I don't know, the history or context behind certain things. And part of that I think is like leftover stress from Gamergate back in its heyday.
Can't say I blame you.
Yeah. And it's just like you go back to when it started and I was like, I won't throw names or nitty-gritty out there, but it's like, oh, so and so, had a relationship with the journalist who reviewed their video game, and that's kind of like the often pointed to as like the ground zero of it. But then like you go to that and that review just doesn't exist, and I was like, this is the kind of thing we're talking about, where it's like the entire foundation of the thing is like observably false. But you try telling people that and showing them, and then it's just like blah 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 blah. But this, but that. It's all like deflection and bullet points, sound bites of like the narrative marching orders that they've kind of all assigned themselves over time, especially as the stuff has only gotten more kind of like entrenched and sort of mythologized, I guess. So to Brian's point, I would not consider myself a teacher, but I guess it kind of does feel like it would have to be like an individual kind of sit down with someone kind of thing to even have a chance at, course correcting someone who's seeing that stuff as kind of like the fact of the matter of a conversation.
And they can't be blamed for that because like somebody like Grummz is supposedly an insider. So like
right.
That's like the person is using like social cachet and ostensible authority, and then people are latching on to that, which like they're not necessarily wrong to do. It's just like you got to be careful about that because like some people want to get you riled up for whatever thing they're interested in riling you up about.
Yeah.
It's not like somebody in that circumstance doesn't have any like vested interest in feeding you bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we call people grifters now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like this question seems to be pointed as like talking to an individual who may not be an active part of these conversations, not necessarily the sources themselves of this stuff. And
How would you respond to people who?
Cause.
How would you respond to people who unironically cite Grummz or Gamergate as examples of games journalism?
Yeah.
So it is to people who are citing that, not to those people themselves.
Yeah.
That would be a very
Grummz
different
himself,
conversation.
the Mishima volcano.
Yeah. Believe it or not, straight to jail.
It's difficult. It's something that goes far beyond video games at this point. Is like, how do you contend with misinformation when it's like such a powerful, dominant force in like casual online spaces? It is a very, very daunting prospect. Honestly, like I wonder, like, am I fortunate for not having run into someone like that in real life and having to be in that kind of position to have that kind of conversation first place, and not just being chatter online? Like, what would that look like face to face?
I feel like it tends to be easier face to face because I don't know, people just.
It's like this. It's like the study that people did where it's like if you could see somebody's face, like if everybody's windows were down in cars, like all the time, and you could just always see somebody's face, there was no tint or anything, people are way more polite. Yeah. It's the anonymity that's the problem. It's like people will talk shit and then they see you in public and it's like, are they gonna continue talking shit? Usually not.
I'll cite the old magics here of, one of the early penny arcade comics of John Gabriel's Greater Internet Dickwad Theory. Of just normal person plus anonymity plus audience equals total ass clown.
Fair. Which is why I don't wear a mask on this show. I would become the biggest piece of shit you'd ever seen.
This is why you can't trust VTubers, people.
It's true. It's true. Wait. No. We can't. Oh, no.
But that I could actually segue that because in me saying that, I have now said something that is misinformation. In order to prove that that is not the case, you would have to spend some time and debunk it and talk and do all that. But it took me exactly 2 seconds to say that.
Yeah.
And by that point, I'm already on to the next subject. It is very hard to keep up against the flow of misinformation. And this is why a lot of this stuff, especially during like the pandemic and whatever, got out of hand, is that people would cherry pick, say something, and then spam that shit out. And they'd be on to the next thing. By the time anyone is able to actively counteract and argue against any of these points, they've made 20 more. And it's like, well, shit, that looks reasonably convincing to someone who wants to be convinced.
Yeah.
And that's part two, is that a lot of the people aligning with these, they have found either it has become their worldview or it aligns with a worldview they already have, and therefore they are biased and lean towards it. Yeah. And we all have these biases, whether we like it or not. And usually that's attributed to, we're more inclined to believe the first thing we hear. So, for example, if I were to say that, this game, X game is the best game ever made to someone who has never heard of this game, and then Brian immediately counteracted with, no, X game is the worst game ever made, somebody listening is actually going to be more inclined to believe me because they heard it first. That is just kind of how we're wired in most cases.
Even though I'm definitely right, because I'm
no,
never
you're not.
wrong.
That game is the best.
No, it's the worst. It's the worst game I've ever played. Lucas, what do you think? Is it the best or the worst? Anyways.
And it gets very complex, as you can see.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is just, a lot of getting into the Gamergate such was a feeling of community, right? It was like-minded people, and we're very social creatures, we're very tribal creatures. We like to find those communities, and you see that with all sorts of stuff, like the anti-vax movement and flat earth movement. All of that shit is just boiled down to a lot of people are just lonely and want to find like-minded people. It doesn't matter what it is. They'll find it, they'll latch onto it, and then it'll shape their worldview from there on out. And once a worldview is entrenched, you will lean towards stuff that backs it up. You will cherry pick information that backs it up. You will be disinclined to believe anything that argues it. And more often than not, even when you're in too deep, subconsciously, you're like, maybe this is wrong, you're going to doggedly hold on to it anyway.
Mhm.
And you get a lot of this. And
Big
so
time.
Grummz, go ahead.
I was just agreeing. Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So Grummz in particular tends to be, his big deal is anti-woke, right? Which is also just a vacuous nebulous term. Like, what does that mean, right?
They
Like-
couldn't tell you.
They couldn't tell
doesn't-
you. They can give you
this
vague
is-
ideas, but it's whatever they want in the moment, right?
I was watching.
They're
I was
too
watching.
afraid to actually say what they know it means.
Yeah, I was watching something where somebody was talking about Antifa, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm kind of anti-Antifa," and I'm like, "We got a word for that, dude. Like, we already have a word for that. If you're anti,
You are just the thing without the anta. You are
Yeah.
just the far.
and you know
What
what?
does the
You don't
far
want
mean?
the far.
Yeah, so like you can just say you're a fascist. Like you can say that. That's fine. So it's like
Think
if
of the
you're
goose chasing the guy. What is the far part mean?
yeah, the goose. Yeah. Oh god, I love that. The great again for who? Yeah. States' rights to do what? You know. It's really good. It's really good. These are questions that you need, like, and this is like, it's a joke. Like, we're joking about this, but like that is a legitimate point to put to these people. Like, you have to, as a person in the modern world with all the information that's out there, you have to ask questions. You have to. You
And you
can't
have to
just
keep
take what
asking
people
questions.
give you. You have to ask follow-up questions. You can't just take what somebody gives you and swallow it like whole cloth.
Ask for
hook, line-
examples.
Yeah.
Demand examples.
Yeah.
Sources and citations.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And if they don't have them, if their sources, trust me, bro, be like, no, I don't think so. I'm gonna wait for more information.
I do my own research. Where?
Where do you, yeah, exactly. Where do you do
Do
your
you
own
have the
research?
journalist training to know how to cite your sources and to verify and vet your sources? Because it's
Also-
important too.
Also, you don't do your own research. How many people do you
You
have in
find
your,
someone who does it. Yeah.
yeah, how many people did you have? What type of a test study? What type of a test did you do? Did you do blind? Did you do double blind? How many people did you have in your, in your control group? Like, no, you don't do the research. You search. You don't do research. Unless you are a scientist or a social scientist, you do not do research.
Like, what
There's
did,
a-
what
there's
did
a
Tim Pool
conflation-
tell you this week?
Yeah. You searched for something on the internet. And you found
Probably something that
somebody-
was already backing up your existing worldview.
Yeah. And there's, do you really know that the person whose page you found or whose YouTube channel you watched, do you know that they did the research?
Probably didn't. Just saying. Because it's
It's
very
really-
easy to say something
Yeah.
and be on to the next point.
It's incredibly, like what Kris said earlier. I did a double blind taste test on Pepsi versus Coke. I tested 37,521 people, and 69% of them said they prefer the taste of Pepsi,
Which is nice.
which is nice. And I'm glad
Yeah.
they did it. But I didn't do that shit. I just said it. And you can very easily say that. Watch any politician during any debate ever.
Studies say.
Yeah.
Which
I met a woman
studies-
from Michigan who said that she was very concerned about her daughter. Bullshit, motherfucker. No, you didn't. Anyways.
Yeah.
Also, that's a sample size of one
Yeah,
in
exactly.
a country of 300 million.
Yeah.
Just saying. So, to get back to the original point, and just to quickly bring it home, I do actually have a more succinct answer to it. So, all of this
Well, I
goes
was
into...
like, damn, this is your succinct answer. That's crazy.
That was not the succinct answer.
Yeah. All right. Let's hear it.
But that was just a conversational point of this is where it comes from. This is why it happens. This is why it is very hard to shake. And the only real way, again, to actually do that, to actually have people, who use that as a source, and is really just to have them ask further questions, dig into these things, actually look into it, and then if they can find it or whatever, you can then dig into those. Like if they bring you sources, you can then look into what is the source of that, where did they get that? You can always follow it back to find the primary source. And, more often than not, it's just some random person posting on Twitter, some shit like that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be able to do that. And to point that out, that can at least, the best you're probably going to get with somebody like this is plant a seed of doubt. You're not going to convince them, right? The best you can do is to continue to have them dig into it and just go, I don't know about this. I am pretty sure this is not true. Plant the seeds of doubt and hopefully they will, sprout eventually.
Yeah.
That's the best you're going to have. But the best thing I will do for somebody like this, especially when it comes to Grummz in particular, is to link them a specific video, which is by a YouTuber called Shaun, Shaun. You will know you're in the right place if the avatar is a skull with sunglasses. They did a 2-hour video going into the fake, almost, anti-woke outrage about the game Stellar Blade. And it basically becomes a 2-hour case study of Mark Kern and their, platform and what they had to say about it and it's well researched, it's well documented, has all of that, and goes into, discrediting this guy and his opinions and where it all went. And that was just on Stellar Blade alone. It goes into much bigger pictures and areas, and it's just a really good video to watch in general. And as far as I was concerned, by the end of it, I'm just like, I already didn't trust Mark Kern, but it's like, damn, 100%. This guy is provably just a hack.
Cool. And I have grabbed a link to that, so I will pop a link to that YouTube video into the episode show notes, so you'll be able to go and check that out very easily for yourself.
And Shaun in general does good stuff because he will go and dig into these questions. There is one of his best videos and one of my favorite videos on YouTube is going into the bell curve, which is a well-known book cited by right-wing sources about IQ, and it thoroughly digs into and debunks and goes through all the stuff. He's like, I did look into the sources. I looked into your studies that you cite. I did the research. Here it is. And it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant video. So that just goes further into showing, what we're talking about and that is good investigative journalism. That is actually good research work.
Oh, no.
That is what you want to find.
I looked back like 4 videos ago, and they have one from 2 years ago, and then another one from 6 years ago on PragerU, and I'm just like, oh god damn it!
Oh no! You could have been a teacher.
Oh, I hate it.
Shaun is very left wing. Can you tell?
Yeah. God, I can't stand.
But
it.
that's.
Stand that. Anyways.
Yeah, and neither can he, which is why he dunks on it. So. Yeah. Regardless, that's the answer I give. Just check that video on, Stellar Blade outrage and all of that, and you'll never, ever listen to Grummz in any way seriously again.
Yeah. Good stuff. And great question, Mads. Thanks.
We got a good discussion out of that.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Let's get out of here. Thank you for joining us for the Skybox podcast. This is episode 10. We're in the double digits, baby.
We made it.
We made it. Now we're stopping the show. We're never going to record it again because we got to the goal that I had for myself. 10 episodes. I did.
Not even triple digits. Come on, Brian. You're letting yourself go.
That's true.
We got over 300 on the platformers. We got to get 300 on this one. We're going to the moon.
All right, we're going to the moon. We're going to the moon, guys. Here we go. Anyways, if you like the show, please leave us a review or tell somebody about it. We love talking to all of you, so come join us. I'm on Blue Sky at Brian Barnett, Brian Barnett, and I'm the same on Backlogged, which is where I log a lot of stuff that I'm talking about with games, and I try to keep track of all this shit that I'm playing so that when Game of the Year comes around in January, I'm not going to be fucking flailing at like, what did I play this year? But what if I don't want to make a Game of the Year episode?
It's what the kids want.
Yeah. Anyways, you can find us all on Twitch, YouTube, and most importantly, Patreon at Skybox Critics. We cannot do this show or any of the other shows or any of the other stuff that we do with the website without your support. Please help us. I've debated how much I want to talk about like the Patreon, like the arrangement and how things are operating and all of that. We could maybe get into that next time, but we really do need your help. And we are trying our best to make this industry a better place, one post at a time, one show at a time. And we can't do it alone. We can't do it alone. So
completely.
Yeah. Lucas, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Blue Sky at Hokuto Lucas. You can read my words on skyboxcritics.com. Most recently, I went to a Rainbow Six event and was forced to confront playing Rainbow Six.
I'm sorry I wasn't available for that, Lucas, but it was so funny.
It's okay. I'm glad it was entertaining because, man, what happened was they added a new mode to it last time I went to one of these, and that was like more beginner friendly. I was like, okay, I can kind of like play this game. And this one, we played real Rainbow Six, and I just hadn't prepared for that. That was probably going to be the case. Very, very different between normal Rainbow Six and
Dual Front.
Dual Front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dual Front, mad good. Some say in the IGN preview that it's real fucking good. It was me. I'm the one who said it in the IGN preview. All right. Kris, where can everybody find you?
Hi, I'm Kris Cornelise. I typically am a contributing writer at Skybox. You can find some of my articles and pieces there. The most recent one at the time of recording is still the AI Could Never one, which I'm still proud of. I still think was pretty good. You should read all those. They're great in general. You can also find my personal work at my website, versusthebacklog.com. That's vsthebacklog.com, one word. I do have a Blue Sky. That is my name, Kris Cornelise. Let me get that right. Kris Cornelise, KrisCornelisse. Good luck. And I go by Delphia in most places. You can find me around the internet by that. Come say hi.
Yeah.
I will also do the Skydive podcast we recorded relatively recently, and one of those should be going live real soon. Mm-hmm. Probably already up by the time you're listening to this. So check that out.
Alrighty. Well, from everybody here at Skybox, we hope you have a wonderful week and stay safe out there. Because until next time, we are out.
Peace.
Goodbye.